What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood show. It's the last show of the NBA regular season. I'm here with Titletown, breaking it all down with you guys. Title, how are you doing and how are you feeling about the last day of the regular season?
Yeah, it's been an awesome NBA year. Very profitable, I know, for a lot of people at RPS. It's going to be sad. I enjoy the regular season, but the playoffs are right here. Always playoff DFS. That's always fun. This slate today, last one of the regular season, it's going to be a crazy one. We got 10 games, couple different lock times, a bunch of injury news like always. It's going to be a day where you got to be in Discord. You got to be refreshing core plays, refreshing cash charts, all the way up until the last game locks, because a lot of stuff's going to change from now when we break down the games until when they actually happen with news.
Yep, there will be tons and tons of injury news that'll be coming in. And listen, we might miss a few, right? Title, it's okay if we miss a few injury things. It's going to be a wild slate. We'll do our best to break it down for you as best as possible. And we'll kind of talk about the news as it comes in as well. Overall, Title, let's talk about before we dive in, let's talk about some things with this slate. One, you got to, I think, on these type of slates, be okay with getting uncomfortable, maybe leaving some salary on the table. What's your kind of overall takeaway on this slate and how you're kind of attacking it?
Yeah, I mean, this slate's really tough to break down as a complete overview. How I'm approaching this slate, though, is I'm not going to wait for any specific injury news. If 7:00 games come around and we have definitive, we know what the rotation is going to be, we know who's going to start, we know where the minutes mainly should go, I'm fine just taking that value and not having to worry about what's going on later. Is this person going to sit? Is that person going to sit? If I like it. If I don't like it, there'll be news to bounce around. You just have to have a plan like we always talk about with your roster construction. And then the big thing is which studs to spend up for. Which teams are playing for something, which teams aren't playing for something that have a greater chance at rest. And then the teams that aren't playing for stuff, is their value safe? Are they going to be Stan Van Gundy and still give Kira Lewis only 22 minutes or something like that? There's a lot that goes into it. We'll go game by game. Every game's unique, but you're picking guys who has stuff to play for studs, or all the backups and value that usually don't get the minutes if they're out of it.
Yeah, we just got news. Embiid, Simmons, Tobias, Danny Green, Seth Curry, and Matisse Thybulle all are out. So those guys are all not playing today. So that's obviously going to open up some opportunities with the Sixers, and we will update that content as we get it. We got Sean V in the chat. He says, I haven't played NBA in weeks. Too much trash resting. Here's the thing, Sean. This is where the edge comes in, right? People play Chris Boucher, right? The other day, he was 12%. Not on the first day of the rest on him, on the second day. I don't even know what the owner's supposed to the day before, but there's a lot of mistakes that can be made on these days. A ton that can happen. So there is an edge here, I still think. I think it's a great edge that we can capitalize on. And there we go. Clint Capella just got ruled out. Bogdanovich ruled out. Now, I know Trae Young was ruled as probable earlier in the day, but maybe he doesn't end up playing. Maybe his minutes are more limited. Maybe he's someone that people don't want to take a chance on, and he has a lower ownership that you can attack, right? There's a lot of different routes that you can take on this, and there's a lot of news that comes later on that is going to be at lower ownership that you can capitalize on. So again, there is a ton of opportunity here to make some money. We'll do our best. Just to put it in perspective, I got someone, I was looking I was down the street, I walked over, Title, I opened my phone, I was looking in the NBA stuff, and I know it's early, right? But this Warriors game is almost over. And I'm going to pull it up. At one of the top of the leaderboards, I saw an RPS logo, right? Here's Nate Stone. 17.5K right now is currently winning the big fadeaway with someone else. So it's not held yet. Not held yet, but there's only a quarter left in the game, and he is sitting pretty. And there's an edge to be had right now. Be sure to get some entries in. Don't ignore it completely. And, be sure to follow the content. We're going to do our best, again, to help you guys out. Hopefully we can root this thing home. I'll have to check by the end of the show to see if Nate Stone gets it in. He's currently winning 17.5K in first place, so we're rooting.
That'd be awesome.
But that's the news here. We got Trae Young is now a game time decision, which listen, if you're a bettor, and I haven't bet it yet.
That can't be good.
Bet on the Rockets, right? I would be betting on the Rockets right now. 7.5, and even money line, I'd sprinkle them. I've been on them. AP bet them the other day. I was on them the other day. But if they're going to sit all their guys, which, again, incentive is going to matter here, Title. The Hawks, they're kind of locked in their spot. And actually, when I was watching the Warriors game, I saw a graphic. And before we go into the games, I'll explain this too, because I think this is super important for this slate. it talked about the Western Conference seed possibilities, right, of where all the teams can go. So Utah, they're playing for the 1 or 2 seed right now. They win that game, they're going to have that spot. Denver and the Clippers, they're both fighting for that 3 or 4 seed. Right now, Denver has the 3, right? And it's kind of a dicey situation because if you look, and I'm going to scroll down, let me see. Denver, they play the Blazers, right? And the Blazers have incentive to win. So you could see the Nuggets lose with them resting guys. And that would move the Nuggets if they lose down to the 4 if the Clippers win. And who do the Clippers play, Title? They play the Thunder. So it's like, how do you expect the Clippers to even lose that game? So there's a lot of movement that can go on here. Dallas can be the 5 or 6 seed, which I do think matters to a little bit of a degree. I think that 1 and 8 seed and the 4 and 5 have an easier bracket to fight in at first. I think that's where you want to be. So I think Dallas is playing to win this game for sure. Portland, they can get the 5, 6, or the 7 seed. The Lakers, they can get the 6 or 7. And then San Antonio and the other games, they already happened. So there is some incentive here, Title, and I think I'm looking at that when I kind of roster my players. How about you?
Yeah, you broke it down perfect. Mavericks and Trailblazers are the 2 teams that I feel really good about that do want to play, and they have studs. They have Luka, they have Dame, they have McCollum. Those are 3 guys that I'm kind of building around. Not necessarily all 3 core plays or McCollum's a core play or necessarily, but those are the 3 I feel most safe with. Luka for sure. Do you agree? I mean, like Jokic could easily go out, play 1 half and be done. They very well could just rest most of their players. They're playing the Trailblazers who are playing to win. The Nuggets, it's not that big of a difference. I don't see a lot of studs on this slate that I feel comfortable with getting a full amount of minutes outside of those 3 pretty much.
Yeah, I think Luka, Dame. I feel pretty good about Dame today. I'll say
Luka,
that.
Dame, CJ.
Yeah, I don't hate the Timberwolves. I think some of these Timberwolves are very good plays because I think they're going to play I think they're actually going to play their guys. So like I think some of the higher end guys are interesting. And then I don't hate AD, right? I think AD, I mean, he's playing the Pelicans, right? He loves to go off against the Pelicans, of course, right? Little revenge there. And on top of that, it's like they need to win that game too. So I think you got to be very selective with your studs. You got to be smart about how you're putting them throughout your lineups. And that's going to be super important on this slate. And like CJ McCollum's a great example. He's not a stud technically like most days, but today he is. Like some of these other guys, like Colin Sexton at 8-2, it feels gross, but like, I don't know. He's someone maybe I'll end up considering roster. We'll go to the game-by-game breakdown now and talk about it. But I think laying out some of these things we discussed are really good to understand and know when kind of building out your lineups and will help you out. We'll go game by game. We'll break down as best as possible that we can, and we'll kick it off with that Sixers game that just came to us with all that news. I'm not super interested in many Magic players. I don't see that changing too much unless we get like maybe an RJ Hampton in the starting lineup. But again, probably doesn't make my one lineup. And then the Sixers side, we kind of have to break down this news and how we're going to handle it because no Simmons, no Curry, no Green, no Harris, no Embiid. So we take them off the court. So best way to kind of do this sometimes, Title, at least for me, is you just pull up DraftKings, right? You go over, you clear out everything. You click on Philadelphia, just them only, right? Take everyone out of your pool, Philadelphia. You can do this on lineup builders as well, but I'm doing it here right now on the DraftKings because you can do it that way very easily. And just click on utility and start counting the bodies they have left, right? So I canceled out those 5 Sixers. I got Dwight Howard, right? He's going to play. We got Milton in. We have Maxey, correct? He's in. Korkmaz, I believe, is available, right? So that's 4. Yep. We're at Mike Scott 5. Fievel's not in there. And then it gets dicey, right? These last bit of guys. So these 5 are decent players. But now we got Tolliver, George Hill. And George Hill, I think, is not going to really get many minutes. I think he's going to be a bigger part of their playoff run than people realize. Not a huge piece, right? But Shake Milton has not been it. I think he's going to replace some of Shake's role going forward. Gary Clark, I don't know, some of these guys like Rajon Tucker, Paul Reed, Isaiah Joe, Mason Jones, they have a lot of bodies that can get minutes. So how are you handling it? It doesn't seem like it's like a 7 or 6 body situation like the Raptors, but there is some opportunity here for some of these Sixers.
Yeah, it's not like the Raptors where we just locked in like 4 of them on DraftKings earlier and you felt really good where the minutes were going, but it's still a good spot. Instead of focusing on the Paul Reeds and the Gary Clarks and Isaiah Joes of the world, I just like going to Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton, Dwight Howard. I'm a little more skeptical with. I still think he gets low 20s, mid 20s. Like I don't think they're gonna push him, but I think he still should get about 20 minutes, which I do like for that price tag. He's only 4 or 5. if you want to go all the way back and you're a revenge guy for sure, the Orlando Magic used to be on there a long time ago, but I think it's a good spot. I'm a little more worried about Dwight Howard because, I mean, he's going to be part of their playoff run. He comes off the bench. He plays a big role in some series. I like the Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton, even Korkmaz at 3.82. Those are the guys that I'd mainly target instead of the Scotts, the Reeds, stuff like that. What are your thoughts on Dwight Howard, though? Because I feel like he might be very popular. I mean, we just saw all these injuries out. Every time everyone's out, Dwight Howard always gets a big bump. He didn't start. He doesn't know. He comes off the bench sometimes. They start Mike Scott. That'd be a little concerning for his minutes too. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that.
I think he starts because they don't start him typically because of Ben Simmons, right? Because you can't run a pick and roll with two guys that can't shoot like that. Like, just that doesn't work. They did it once this year and it was a disaster. So I think Howard could start here. And Howard's an elite producer. Like, let's say Howard only plays 18 minutes. He could get you 40 fantasy points. So I wouldn't ignore him completely. Salary won't matter as much today. It just depends on like my roster construction and how I build out and if I kind of fall in it. It's not a guy I'm going out of my way for. Korkmaz is another guy. I think he's kind of part of this Sixers team for like going down the stretch. And I know not every team is created equal, but if you look, Cam Payne played 27 minutes today, and he was good in his 27 minutes. But Cam Payne is probably part of that playoff team, right? Where you got Javon Carter, who played 42 minutes, right, for the Suns. Like, some of these guys like Korkmaz, they might not actually get the full run that you would like, right? So that's something I'm trying to weigh and figure out. I kind of think Shake Milton is a guy that will get the full run because Shake Milton has been horrific, and they're talking about how they need him to be better. So I wouldn't be shocked if they use this as kind of a tune-up game for him. But again, this is not a game I really want to load up on. I think it's fine. There's also going to be a lot of value throughout the slate title. I don't think this is a day you need to jump on 7 o'clock value because you don't have value later. So something to think about as well. It's going to be a bit of kind of try and play, doing some juggling, right? Or as I forget what the word spread used, some mental gymnastics, trying to figure out your lineups, right? It's going to be a chess match. Do I play guys now? Do I play them later? What's this value to values later? Definitely weigh that in your decision-making process. I think there's some good values here on the Sixers. I don't think I need to jam them in unless I get news that they're short more bodies than I think right now.
No, I do think you're right. They do have more bodies than we did think. I think Tyrese Maxey would be my favorite. He's the young buck. He's a good. I mean, when he gets rolling, if he gets the 30 minutes, he'd be a very strong play. But like you said, there's better value on the slate. And the thing is, we don't need like it's not a stars and scrubs. We talked about how a lot of the stars aren't in play. There's Luka, there's Dame and McCollum. Those are three I mentioned. McCollum's not even like the stud you usually think of. You can go to some of these like low 5 or high 4K players that we'll get to later. You don't need the 3K punts. So yeah, I agree. This game, if you need a one-off or something, I think those guys are fine, but their minutes aren't as safe as we'd want.
Yeah, and just another example how minutes can be spread out sometimes, title. Here's the Spurs yesterday. So they had 9 bodies, which 9 bodies, sure, but you can still spread out 9 bodies pretty well. 8 is where like the key number is, where you really start kind of getting excited. 9 is still good. It depends on who the bodies are. The Spurs, though, Eubanks, 23 minutes. Keldon Johnson, 25. Patty Mills, 24. Lonnie Walker, 23. Vassell played 34. Bates Diop, 29. Dieng, 25. Jones, 29. Weatherspoon, 28. Like, only one guy over 30. You can still kind of juggle some stuff up a bit when you have a lot of bodies. And again, this is why the Raptors on the early slate, they were absolute stones. They had 6 bodies. You just match them into your lineups. It's plain and simple. And you could get that at some point tonight. We'll have to see. Got to wait and see how everything shakes out here. And we'll be updating all of our core plays and everything over at Run Pure Sports. Use that code RPSHeater25. You get 25% off to sign up and check all that out. You don't just get the NBA package, right? You're getting everything. You're getting tennis. You're getting CSGO, League of Legends. You're getting literally everything. MLB, NFL, anything and everything. You get the full thing over at Run Pure Sports. All right, Title. That'll wrap up that game. Let's move on over to the next game. Up next, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. And it's a back-to-back. I don't understand why the Nets would be playing their guys. That's one thing I've kind of gone back and forth on, Title, and I don't understand. But I think some of these Cleveland guys are interesting. I mean, can I talk you into a JSURab revenge game, Title? I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world, right? Because he's someone that he got traded from that team, right? And he was probably expected maybe to win a title this year, possibly. So I think Jared Allen is someone that could go off and is a mid-tier option. Again, we don't have a lot of spin-ups that we love, but he's one I think I can talk myself into. And I think I can talk myself into Colin Sexton. Another team too, the Nets, they don't play a lot of defense, and I wouldn't be shocked if these Cavs, they're playing for the future, right? They're playing to develop their players. And if you want to develop Colin Sexton, you kind of want him on the floor with the other good players like Jared Allen. So I think this is a good opportunity here for these two guys.
You can talk me into Jared Allen. Colin Sexton, I think I'm going to avoid. 8-2 is still a little steep for me. There are guys that I would prefer, but Jared Allen, 6'9". We like how, I mean, not only is it a revenge spot, he's good when he gets minutes. The Cavs have nothing to play for. They're still playing him normal. He got 34 minutes last game. He's been around 30 the past couple of games. I feel safe with his minutes that it's going to get about 30. And that's all you can really ask for a mid-tier, upper-tier player today with a lot of upside that we attack this Brooklyn front court. Jared Allen, 6.9K, has a lot of upside on DraftKings. FanDuel, 6.4K, very strong play over there, even though you can only play one center. I definitely like that call in the mid-tier. Nicholas Claxton, 3.3K. He makes a lot of sense on DraftKings. He's going to get about 25 minutes. I agree. I don't know why the Nets would be running out like KD, Kyrie, like why they would want to against this Cavs team. They don't have much to play for. That doesn't matter in the standings. So I'm not going to touch any of the spend ups. Jared Allen's my favorite in the mid-tier. Sexton's a little too high price for me. I do like other options on this slate. And then Claxton at 3.3 on DraftKings. I think there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, JSU said chemistry reasons in the chat, which I sort of get, but again, health is like priority, I think. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
That could be like a 1/2 chemistry, get going 2, and then they sit second half kind of like. I don't think they're going to get 35 minutes of chemistry, but I do know it definitely makes sense. They haven't played too much together.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do with like Claxton here in this spot. And the reason I kind of say that title is I like him when he's with James Harden, so I want him with James Harden, right? And it's a slate where we have a lot of really good value plays. So I've gone back and forth on him. I still think he's a good play. Even if he gets like 10 minutes with James Harden, that could be enough along with like the 15 to 20 that you could play without him, that it's fine, right? But I do like him with Harden rather than without. I was listening to the broadcast the other day and they brought up an amazing point. Like the on and off splits with and without Harden are so extreme. It's like insane. So I wish I had the numbers in front of me because they're wild numbers of the different kind of player he is with and without him. So I think that's super important to mention with Claxton. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
No, 100%. I've been saying that. I've watched a bunch of the Claxton. He's one of my favorite players, actually. And he's so much better with Harden because of that pick and roll. Harden always he's so pass first off of the pick and roll. He lobs it up, even if it's kind of contested. They have really good chemistry. So I don't know how many minutes he'll get with Harden. Still, I'm not scared of this Cleveland front court. 25 minutes, 3-3. He's not a must by any situation or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of value, like we said, though, but 3-3, he can get you 30 plus anytime. I like the matchup, so he is in my player pool.
All right, well, we got Wendell Carter is now closer to doubtful, which could matter, and I think Bamba is. So this is actually very interesting because Bamba, I believe, is questionable as well, right? Or is he? Yeah, he's questionable, and RJ Hampton is available. So obviously, the Magic wise, that could be very intriguing. There could be some value plays. I believe the guy would be Hall or our boy. What's his name? Iggy.
That would be the guy.
Now RJ Hampton is closer to doubtful, by the way. So that's kind of big. They're losing bodies. So let's see if we can wait for like a report that gets us some bodies. But that's definitely gonna be something to watch for. We'll circle back to that towards the end of the show title. But let's go talk about Houston and Atlanta. Because I think Houston is a strong play. I think that they're a good bet too to maybe win this game because Atlanta looks like they're just going to mail it in. And there is some opportunity on Atlanta, obviously with them resting guys, but we have salary to spend today, right? We said we don't love a lot of studs. I mean, can I interest you in Kelly Olynyk? The problem is the minutes have been down, but yesterday they went back a little up to 31. He got 55 fantasy points. I mean, he could easily do that in 28, in 28 minutes he could play, and he could get you 50 fantasy points. You'd be happy, right? You got Martin Jr., who I think is in play. Even though the price has gone up, I still think he's someone you can consider, and people are not able to stomach that price tag, especially coming after the rough game, right? He was printing 40 or more in every game, but this last one, 26, and people might be worried about that. You got Jayshawn Tate. You got Brooks at 4.9. I mean, you have a lot of different options. Title, what are you doing here with these Rockets?
Yeah, so these Rockets are about to have 9 bodies. The minutes are still kind of like you were talking about. I forget what game, or the Spurs yesterday, where the minutes were like 28, 26. We can see that in this matchup too, or with this team too, with Houston, with DJ Augustine playing about 25, Jayshawn Tate around 28. Kelly Olynyk around, if Kelly Olynyk, you told me, got like his 32, 33 minutes even, I would love him even at 8-5 on this slate. And I think he's going to go very under-owned. But I am concerned the minutes have came down 31, 25, 28. He has tons of upside, so he's definitely going to be in my tournament pool. I think he's going to be low owned. The salary doesn't matter as much. You just want the upside. So he'll definitely be in the player pool. He's not a priority. It's not like a cash game play. He is risky. I don't have too strong of a lean on which. My favorite one is DJ Augustine on DraftKings 3-9. I expect him to start at point guard, play about 25 to 30 minutes. He'll get you about 5-6x. Probably not a tournament play. He'll be a little too popular for me. Jayshawn Tate on FanDuel is only 5.3K. Power forward isn't very good. He's my favorite over there. It's not a spot I'm just going to completely load up on Houston though, because I don't feel safe with any of these guys getting over 30 minutes, even though some of them will, but I don't know if Kelly Olynyk will, Jayshawn Tate will. Hopefully, do you have a better lean on that, or are you kind of similar where it could be like the Spurs?
I don't think it's much as like the Spurs, but I think you could see limited minutes on I think you could see limited minutes on DJ Augustine, right? Like it wouldn't shock me. Like some of these older guys, like the Daniel House, but you won't see as many limited minutes on some of the other guys, like Oliver, right? Like KJ Martin Jr., Tate. Depends obviously how his ankles end up acting during the game. But again, 29 minutes last game, I think he's fine. You're right, they can a little bit, but I think they only have 8 bodies, right? So unless they got some other addition. Well, DJ Wilson's back, right? I think he might be back for this game.
I think he's back. They have 9, I think.
Okay, yeah, I guess that could muddy it up a little bit, but we'll have to see, right? Not prioritizing all these guys, but I think some of these mid-tier guys, I think they make some sense because of the opportunity that they can have, and I think it's a decent situation for them. What about the Atlanta side? I haven't really looked too deep into them because I didn't know what they were doing today, but now they're resting guys. We have opportunity here, right? I think this guy, man, Nate Knight is his name, right? Nathan Knight. He's been a pretty good producer in the past from what I've noticed throughout this season, so I don't hate him. You could also tell me, I don't know what Lou Williams is playing. I don't know what his minutes are going to be, but if you told me, like, I don't need 37 minutes of Lou Williams, but if you told me I get 25 minutes of Lou Williams at 3-3, 25 minutes could be 40 fantasy points in this situation, right? Especially against the Rockets. So I don't want to ignore him completely. I don't know what Hunter's role is going to be. I know he's back from injury, so I'm assuming he maybe have some type of limit on him. They're probably just trying to get him out there and get all ready. But I think that I don't want to ignore someone like Knight. And like the reason I mentioned Lou Williams, and I should have mentioned Skylar Mays, we have a lot of ball handlers out. The one reason I like the Rockets the other day was because they had 7 bodies and 3 were centers, right? 4 guys could handle the ball. Title, I'm staring at Okongwu. I'm staring at Fernando. I'm staring at Knight. Those are not ball handlers. Like Solomon Hill, he can handle it if they have to, like, but he's not their priority to handle it, right? If you kick it to him in the corner and he needs to do something with the ball, he can do it, but he's not going to be a primary ball handler. They just don't have primary ball handlers, and there's no Chris Dunn, there's no Goodwin. It seems like Skylar Mays and Lou Williams could be really phenomenal plays here.
Did you say Trae Young is now a game time decision? I didn't see that news pop up on
he's game time decision, which I'm assuming he just doesn't play. It's an assumption, but we're going to know by lock, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming if he got downgraded a game time decision that he's not going to play either, because he was a good play before. Lou Williams, like you said, 3.3K, but I feel more concerned about his role than I do a Claxton at the same price. You know what I mean? So I think I'd rather just go Claxton in that spot over a Lou Will. I mean, yeah, he's going to be a part of their playoff push, you assume. I just don't want to play with other value on the slate. I don't want to play a Skylar Mays or a Nathan Knight or a Bruno Fernando or a Okonju or whatever, Solomon Hill. I just don't feel comfortable. I know what you're saying. Maybe
they're playing Houston too, Title. I mean, they were playing a bad basketball team.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Houston's better than this Atlanta team right now. The guys that I just mentioned, I will take Jayshawn Tate, KJ Martin. I will take some of those Houston guys over these Atlanta guys that I just mentioned. I just can't roster them on DFS and expect to get 5x, 6x, 7x with an upside. Lou Williams would be the one, but I'm most concerned about his minutes. So I'm going to be off Atlanta for the most part. They still have some bodies. If that changes, I'll let everyone know in Discord. No one stands out right now that I see myself playing.
I'm surprised they don't stand out to you as much as they do to me. I know John Collins is there. I don't know what to do with him because, like, I don't see him going out and playing 40 minutes. But at the same time, John Collins has not been a big part of this team. Like, he has not been like, I mean, he's part of it, right? But he might ride the bench in the fourth a lot more than you think. I think people are more surprised at what John Collins' role has been since the new coaching change.
Yeah, no, yeah, the John Collins. I don't expect him to run out a ton, but he's definitely not as key of a piece as he used to be. I mean, Capella obviously was injured last year. He's made a big impact, but maybe I'll come back. This Atlanta news hit when we were on the show. Maybe I am missing something that you are seeing at the guard position.
I'm currently betting the Rockets 6.5 title, and I'm going to bet them. I'm going to also bet them money line. So
yeah, I'm going to hop on that, or I'll hop on that for sure, because Atlanta team is not. They don't look good.
Yeah, that'll be my my bet of the day. We've done pretty well with them. I've given a couple that have been pretty good. I think this one's a good one. So we'll be on the Houston side. Hopefully that works out. Definitely want to break down the Atlanta one more when I get off the show and update the cash chart. But we got to keep this thing moving. We got to talk about the Miami Heat. We got to talk about the Detroit Pistons. They're definitely banged up, and this game does not matter, right? I don't think it matters at all for playoff position. So I am staying away from the Heat. And then the Detroit side, you can make arguments to fill in some of these guys, but I just think they have too many right now where I think this is a full stay away from me title.
There's on FanDuel, there's some better prices for the Pistons. Josh Jackson's 5'2", Sadiq Bey's 5'8", as small forward. That's not great. I can get behind them over there. On DraftKings, I don't Diallo at 4-7, maybe. It's not a game that I'm going to have too much. I don't think Butler is questionable. If he's out, Bam is a spend up maybe. I don't think his minutes definitely aren't that safe either, but when he's on the court, he would be the primary beneficiary. I don't know. What do you rank Bam in the studs if Jimmy Butler is out? Because I think that's a big question since we're going to have the money.
Isn't Jimmy already out? I thought Jimmy was already out. Isn't that correct?
Oh, is he already?
I thought so.
Yeah, you might.
Maybe I'm wrong.
So he's So I'm looking right now. My Wi-Fi it's unstable.
I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or mine.
Is he? Yeah. It might be my Wi-Fi. He's So Bam's 8.2K on FanDuel. I have interest at him at the center position. Because I think Jimmy Butler is out. So Bam 8.2 on FanDuel. I have interest there. 8.3 on DraftKings center position. I think he's fine at a raw points if you need it. But outside of him, the two Sadiq Bey, Josh Jackson on FanDuel. Not too many Pistons on DraftKings.
Yeah, real quick, we did get some injury news with Houston, which could matter. I know Thomas got hurt, right? Fake Kyrie Thomas, he got hurt. He is out. We got, though, Lamb is going to start, right? So Lamb starting at 3-6. Don't want to ignore that completely with Houston. So he will be the starter, it looks like. But, that wraps up really Miami and Detroit. I get what title's saying with some Detroit guys. I don't ignore them completely on this slate. Like, if you have a filling guy here and there, I think it makes some sense. But they're not top priorities today. And it's an 8 o'clock game too, right? So even if you have a Detroit guy in there, you can easily switch one out for a value that could come later on that you're not even expecting, which – I don't know what to expect in the Denver game with value because I know some guys are sitting. They just haven't told us to. They said some of the vets will sit. We'll find out soon. I'm assuming we'll find out at 6:30. Title, I'm going to wait on Denver news. We'll break that all down. What?
Yeah. I was just going to say for Detroit, Diallo, DraftKings, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey. I think those are strong plays in all formats, though, with the Detroit. Someone in chat brought them up. But I agree.
Diallo's a good call. Diallo's a good call. I don't want to ignore Diallo because Diallo's been in a good spot. But I think we wait on the Denver news. We don't know who's going to play, so we'll figure it out later. And then Portland, I like Dame.
Yep.
I think Dame, CJ, those are the main two guys. You can make a case for Nurkic, but I don't need to. I think those are the two I'm prioritizing here.
100%. Dame and CJ on both sites. Raw points I feel good about. I feel good about the minutes. I prefer them to the Giannis's, to some of the other spend ups that we don't. I mean, Kevin Durant's, Kyrie's, even Anthony Davis and LeBron. You mentioned AD a little earlier. They do want to win. I still feel better with the Lucas and these CJ and Dame in this game. So I'll have a lot of them. And outside of them, I'm not going to go to the value. Maybe Norm Powell on FanDuel or something, but I'm mainly going to stick with those two.
Cool. Let's go on over to the next game. The next one we have up, Sacramento and Utah. And Utah is playing for something. I don't hate filling some of these guys in throughout my lineups. Like Rudy Gobert against Sacramento in 25 minutes could put up 50. I wouldn't be shocked if you put up 2 fantasy points per minute. It wouldn't shock me. It's an outlier, but it could happen. And if we're having trouble spending on stuff, I don't hate it. And if somehow the game is close title, Utah's going to grind it out. They'll probably play their guys a little bit more. He's center eligible is the problem I think I have, because you can only play 2 centers. So that could mess some things up. You have some good center value. But what are you doing with some of these options? Like Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, Ingles, Clarkson. It is more crowded now in the backcourt, but I do think there is some opportunity here with these guys.
Man, see, on this 10-game slate, I just feel like there's other options that I think are going to have bigger roles that I can feel more comfortable with. I mean, Rudy Gobert on FanDuel, if you need to spend up there, but I don't know. Jordan, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get to any of these guys. My favorite person in this game is Luis King, 5.2K on FanDuel, a small forward. I like him on DraftKings too. You just know what you're going to get with the minutes from him. He absolutely broke the slate with last game. He's my favorite. I feel most comfortable with him. Both sites, I'm going to get him in a lot of tournament lineups. Outside of him, though, I don't feel as good about this Utah spot as I think you do. Like, who are you targeting, or who do you feel most comfortable with?
So I'm not targeting them, but like I know there's like, if I'm filling out my lineup and it's like I fall on like a Rudy Gobert and like I love everything else, like I don't hate it, right? Like it's like you could get it. You obviously can tinker it around to do something else and make something amazing. You can make a lot of really good teams today. I mean, you can make great teams leaving 2K on the table. I made great teams today in the early slate, leaving 1.7, 1.5, 2K. So like there's a lot of routes it can go, and I don't know where the slate's going to go, but I do know I would rather, because we have so many spend up opportunities, if there's guys I know that have a secure between 28 and like 35 minutes that are spend ups studs that are sort of playing for something, I think I'm going to have them in my consideration is really where I'm at.
Yeah. So yeah, probably like Royce O'Neal 4-2, maybe like you feel like kind of like you described, you feel like a 28, 30 minute floor kind of thing. I don't love his ceiling. I know what you mean. If you land on a Rudy Gobert 8-1, I'm fine with that.
I think it was more on like the raw point guys title, not as much like the Royces. I think more on like the guys just to get me raw points. Like for instance, like I wouldn't touch Harden, Kyrie, or KD today, right? Like there are just some studs that are absolutely unplayable. Even if Paul George, Kawhi, like I don't want to touch them. Like there's just some studs I'm not even touching. Like Giannis, I know he's not really playing for anything, so I'm just not going to touch him. So like, I guess when I'm grading them versus some of these other guys, that's why I kind of mention them in conversation. Like another guy who we'll get to in the Minnesota game, Anthony Edwards. I know he's getting minutes. Cat, I feel like I know he's getting minutes. So if I feel secure about the minutes, and because we have so much value, you can sometimes get 3 spend ups. If I fall on it, I don't hate it.
Yep, 100%. That's why Gobert would be my favorite before that reason, raw points. In this game, though, the Sacramento side, Luis King's definitely the best play, 3-3 on DraftKings, 5-2 on FanDuel. Like I said, he's priced up a little more. I still like that price. I'm still fine with that price tag. Hopefully it does keep ownership down. It's all about the role he has. And then they have some other value. They got Jameis Ramsey, 3.1K, point guard, shooting guard eligible, played 30 minutes last game. Damian Jones at 3.5, played 35 minutes last game. Those are the 3 that I would target for value. Luis King is my favorite. The other 2, I don't know how. I don't feel too comfortable with them. I'm not sure you really need it on this slate because of the lack of stars, but they're 2 guys that have a pretty good role on this team and this game. You think they should play 30 minutes? Damian Jones, 3.5. I think I probably prefer him over Claxton. I feel like his role is more secure. So that's how I'm approaching this game. King's value, Gobert if you need the raw points.
Yeah, I'll say this. I like the idea of the King's value title. Just Luke Walton can strike at any time.
That's true.
Now the bodies, they still have them. And, if you just look at minutes, right? Kyle Guy got 6 minutes yesterday. If I told you Kyle Guy played for 30 today, I wouldn't be shocked, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying just be a little cautious with some of the Kings. But Luis King, definitely, I'm not ignoring him. He definitely had a pretty good game. Sometimes these guys, they play into such great games, you have to play them, right? And you have to evaluate them and just give them runs. So something I'm going to think about when I'm grading out some of these values. Again, that's a 9 o'clock game. I can wait for starting lineups. Starting lineups will tell you a lot. What is Luke Walton doing? Well, if DeLon Wright's not starting, he might not even play. So, like, look at the starting lineups. That tells a lot of what the coaches are doing and what their plans are.
Starting lineups will tell you the most you need to know in a slate like today. I mean, we saw when Gary Trent and Boucher didn't start a couple days ago and they didn't see the court at all. If you see someone you expect to start not start, it definitely should raise an alarm. Or someone is starting that's very value and you think this person's not going to play, they're going to see an extended role. You know what I'm saying? The starting lineups tell us a big picture of what they're going to do today, because we don't know what some teams are going to do, who's going to be ruled out. Someone not even on the injury report probably will be ruled out later. That's going to change the slate.
Yeah, but you compare some coach quotes with that, right, too? Like one I paired with the Nuggets was like when JaVale McGee started. Well, that day they said that they were going to experiment with some lineups and do some different things, which was scary. But once you saw McGee in the lineup with Jokic and Campazzo, I was like, these guys are going to get their normal run, but they might just be messing with trying to get McGee more run because they did trade for him, right? They didn't trade for him just to watch like the finals from the bench. They might have a spot where they need to play him because of their playing against the Lakers, right? And they need his size. There's just some spots where they might need to play. So I think that's part of why they did it, to get them run with the starters. And again, starting lineups, they tell a lot for sure. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go to the Lakers and the Pelicans. And I don't hate AD as a spend up today title. Not someone I'm prioritizing, but I think he's going to be incentivized to play, obviously. So that's good. It is Anthony Davis, but look at his game logs. 39 minutes, 41, 43, 36. Why should I expect otherwise like him to get lower than that, right? He should play in this game. It's against the Pelicans. And don't sleep on the Pelicans, right? Again, this is not a Pelicans team that's great, but they're not playing absolute scrubs. This is not a team that's rolling out dudes off 10-day contracts that we don't know are good or have never played in the league. This is not Charlie Brown Jr. This is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. This is Eric Bledsoe. This is Hernan Gomez, Najee Marshall, guys who have been playing real minutes. Even Kira Lewis. Like, I think this game could stay closer and close enough where Davis gets the full run.
Yeah, that's fair. You made the case for Davis. I'm not as high on him. I like some of the other studs more. The Luka, Dame, CJ. I like the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, Cat we'll get to a little bit. I totally get what you're saying, that they need to win, but I just have been avoiding the Lakers most of this year. They're just so concentrated. LeBron, AD. I'm not going to go there. I do like the other side in the Pelicans today, though. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 6.8K. I feel really good about him. On both sides, I like him. In the mid-tier, you just feel really good about his role, his upside. Then the value. Wayne Gabriel's 3.1K. Kyra Lewis is 3.3K. They played just under 30 minutes last game. Or Gabriel did play 30 minutes. Small forward, power forward eligible for Gabriel, point guard, shooting guard for Lewis. I just think, I know it's Stan Van Gundy. I hate guessing what he's maybe going to do. They do have bodies. Najee Marshall's a solid play too and stuff, but I feel more comfortable with this Pelicans value, the Lewis, the Gabriel, than I do the Hawks right now and some of the other stuff that we talked about. Maybe that changes right as the show goes on or in Discord when we get starting lineups, but I feel good with the Lewis and Gabriel for full punts if you need them. Alexander Walker, 6.8K, really like him. Najee Marshall, 5.1K, and shooting guard and small forward eligible. I like that price. And even Jackson Hayes and Hernan Gomez. I prefer Jackson Hayes always. They do split pretty much 48 minutes. They split the center minutes. He's 4,700. I expect him to get roughly 25 minutes like he usually does. And he always has a ton of upside for that. They're going to need his size in this game, so maybe he does get a little more run. Going to be very low owned. Am I too high on this Pelicans team on a slate like this?
I don't think you are. I think you can pick some spots with them. Like, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker's a great, like, again, a raw points guy that, like, I feel good about him getting the run and just getting me, points. That's all. So I like Alexander. He is a guard, right? And I think he's specifically a point guard. So that could be a valuable spot throughout the slate. Obviously, if he was shooting guard eligible, it'd be a little bit better, but definitely something I'm looking at. I wouldn't be shocked, title. We saw it once this year. I don't know if we'll see it again. Do we see the double big man lineup against the Lakers of Jackson Hayes and Willie Hernan Gomez? And I mean, we saw it with Steven Adams, right? And it sounded insane, but they did it once and they did it the whole game. Wouldn't shock me if they did it here. I'm not saying they will, but Jackson Hayes is an elite producer. If he's starting at the 4, I'm going to have some interest.
I would love Jackson Hayes if he's, because then you're guaranteed that he does share, that they just don't split the 48. And that his minutes upside is a lot more. So if he starts at the 4, I'd be all over it. Even if he doesn't, I have some interest because he's going to be ownership doesn't matter today. I mean, there's going to be so many spots. You don't worry about getting too cute places, but I still think he has a lot of upside even at 25 minutes. If he started 2 big men, look for that, I would have a ton of interest.
Yep. And
but then maybe Wayne Gabriel or Marshall or Kira Lewis, they get a little bumped down. Not as much Kira Lewis, mainly the Marshall and Gabriel, because that's a wing player they're taking that they're splitting more minutes and taking out of. So then they'd get a bump down.
Yep, and I wouldn't worry about ownership too much because it's going to be super spread out. And some of these later values, you're going to get it like 2% owned. Like, don't be shocked. Like, I got Jabari Parker today, right? Like, where the Celtics sat no one. Like, they didn't play anyone. They sat all these guys, and I got him at like 3%, which I thought was kind of low, right? Like, for that slate, especially like with the news, like some of these like values that are going to be chalk, there's going to be better ones, not better ones, but there's going to be other ones later that are like really good still. And
it could be better. They could be better.
And I'm not saying that the ones that are probably chalk now are bad, but like there could be good ones later on too that were even better ones. So, and some of the ones that were earlier that are chalk, they could be really good too. There's a lot of different ways to go with it. So don't be shocked if someone's like 2%, you did something wrong, or it's going to be a wild slate.
The winning line of tonight, people are going to look at it and be like, wow, like there's going to be multiple people under 10% owned, multiple people probably under 5% owned. There's going to be 1%ers that just crush. It's just so don't worry about ownership and all that. Like, it's going to be a crazy slate.
If you're playing multiple lineups, like have one that's backloaded, right? Just for like maybe 9 o'clock only. Like, it's just, you could get some interesting stuff there if you do that. There's a lot of games at 9 o'clock and later on. We'll go over to the next.
Harden's out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes so much sense that he's out. It doesn't make any sense for him to play that game. Especially because I remember the Nets saying that Harden would probably only play 2 of the games, and he only played 2 of the games. So
yeah,
I think about it. It makes a ton of sense. So he's out. We'll see what the rest of the news coming in will be. Milwaukee and Chicago. Not a game I'm super interested in, title. I like Thad Young because I know what the ceiling he can have. And again, another mid-tier guy that like I feel like he's going to play most of the game. Maybe he doesn't though. Maybe they are too crowded in the front court. I'm not sure. I think he's okay though. How about you?
Yeah, I like Thaddeus Young, 5.6K on DK. I like his price on FanDuel too. He's 5K. I feel really good about him. Just like you said, he's gonna play. You feel comfortable that he's gonna play about 30 minutes, probably a little more. We know he has a very high ceiling. Now he gets a matchup against the Bucks. It's very high pace. So definitely sign me up for Thaddeus Young. Lauri Markkanen, 3.6K on DraftKings. Patrick Williams, 3.5K. I think those 3 are all very strong plays. They all have dual position eligibility too. On the Bucks side, they're a pretty easy fade for me. If I went to anyone, it would be like a Pat Connaughton. He's 3.3K. He should see an extended minutes. I don't see them running out Giannis and all them for an extended period of time. Get more backup. Pat does have more of the usage off the bench, so he's the low-owned tournament Milwaukee Buck. Kobe White too, 6.5K on DraftKings. He's good price on FanDuel too. I think these Bulls are a very good spot. Their prices are too cheap. Markkanen under 4K, just you don't see that often. Patrick Williams, their rookie, 3.5K dual position eligibility. You already mentioned Thaddeus Young. These Bulls are in very good spots.
Sorry, I had myself muted. I think the Bulls are in some good spots. They're not guys I'm prioritizing. I want to see some lineups before I really make decisions on them. And the Bucks too, like I don't expect them to be playing their guys. So I'm curious to see what starter lineup they put out. So I can't give too much on that. Just want to wait and see.
If they rest all of them, then like Thanasis, that's what we're saying. The Bucks, the value later and stuff too, they could just become the elite of the elite. Like if the Bucks rested everyone, Thanasis, Forbes, if he was the only one, Pat Connaughton, if all of them rested, I mean, you can say that about a lot of the teams. You have to have a plan going into your lineup. So like someone in chat was saying, I can't play anyone before the 9 p.m. games. Perfect. You have your plan right there. You'll get all the news, then you can adjust and pretend that's when the slate locks. I'm not necessarily doing that, but you have to have a plan is the point.
Only thing I'll say about that plan is let that plan be flexible too, title, because things can change instantly and the entire slate blows up. So don't be like, oh, I've been wanting to play 9 p.m. guys only all day. Like, for instance, Atlanta. I'm just going to go through Atlanta real quick because we didn't count the bodies too well, I think. I mean, if Trae Young's out, Bogdanovich out, right? If Gallinari's out, which I'm assuming Herter, he's out, right? I count bodies, right? I got John Collins, 1. I got DeAndre Hunter coming off injury, right? Like coming off injury, like I don't think they're going to put him to 40 minutes or anything. 2. You got Lou Williams, who you said they might not get a lot of run to, right? If you think that, then some minutes got to go somewhere else. That's 3. Solomon Hill, 4. Skylar Mays, 5. Knight, 6. Fernando, 7. Okongwu, 8. And 3 of those guys can't handle a ball, right? So, again, I would say, I'm not saying that the 9 o'clock values are better, but I just wouldn't ignore the earlier guys and have a plan of just 9 o'clock only. Be flexible because you could get news that this happens. This guy's on a minutes limit, this and that. So just be ready to make some of those opportunities. Same with Orlando. I don't know what the Orlando full situation is. I'm counting the bodies now real quick for us because I think that was good to maybe circle back to. But if we have the Orlando bodies, right, we got.
I see 9 on. I see 9. Did you say there was 8 or 9 on Atlanta? I counted 9 on that end, Atlanta. I counted 9 on Atlanta.
I only counted 8 on Atlanta. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Tony Snell, Solomon Hill, John Collins, Okongwu, Lou Williams, Hunter, Mays, Knight. Is Bruno Fernando?
Oh, you know what? I did not count the GOAT Tony Snell because I saw the Q next to him and it was a 3K guy, so I went by him because of course. But is Tony Snell? I mean, I love Tony Snell and JT, but is Tony Snell really gonna?
No, I was just trying to count them, but I was making sure. Yeah. I mean, they are short. Yeah, they for sure.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering what the minutes limit are going to be on some of these guys, right? I guess that's what I'm like thinking about a lot.
See, this whole slate is, I mean, you have to make guesses on this slate, educated guesses on certain roles, what the team wants to do, doesn't want to do. No one can tell. We don't know for sure what teams are going to do, what coaches are going to do. We're just making our best guesses.
Yeah, and on Orlando, specifically, I saw that. If the guys who are questionable, which like Bamba's questionable, Gary Harris is already starting, but he's on a minutes limit. That's 9 bodies, I believe I counted. And that's with the minutes limit for Harris. And that's if all those other guys are out. So again, there is some stuff to watch here in these early games. I do lean trying to maybe go more towards the 9, but I do want to kind of find out what these coaches are doing for sure. 2 games left, and then we will get on out of here, title. Clippers and OKC. I don't want to touch this game at all. OKC has been a disaster. No thanks. And Clippers, I mean, if we get news that some of these guys are sitting, maybe, but I think this is a full-on fade for me.
Yeah, I would need news on some people sitting, and it would be like a Terrence Mann or something like that, who is aggressive off the bench, so would shoot a lot. But as of now, there's way better spots.
Yep, way better spots. Let me see here. So next game up, we got last one of the day, and this one is probably a good one for DFS, right? On this slate. Luka, I don't want to ignore him because they can still get that 5 seed if they want to fight for it. And these are all points, right? Even on these slates, when you have all these values, raw points do matter. And he's 10.3K. So again, salary might not matter a ton, but he's guard and forward eligible. A lot of ways you can get him in your lineup. So I'm not going to ignore him. Not going to ignore Cap, who has been really getting strong minutes. Now, last game, he got 27 minutes. It was a blowout. They pulled him away. I don't know if they did it, title, because of the draft pick that they're preparing for, possibly with the Golden State and all the lottery situations, or if it was because it was a blowout against the Celtics, right? It's still up in the air, but the Timberwolves have talked about that they're just playing hard, and maybe they pulled Cat and then out early because they're playing a back-to-back. They just want to make sure no need to go 36 minutes tonight and then the next game not. The game's already out of reach. Let's get these young guys another competitive basketball game the next day to gain more chemistry. Maybe that was it. Maybe that's the same thing with D'Angelo Russell. We know his floor. We know his ceiling. If he gets 36 minutes, he could absolutely crush. If he gets 25, he could be terrible. It just depends if the shot's falling. If the shot's falling, D-Russ can go for 55. If it's not, he can go for 25. We know how it works with him. And then Anthony Edwards, the minutes are just so secure. And I want to just soak up minutes, right, on this slate. Fantasy producers and guys that can get minutes, I want to get them in my lineups because value is endless. So I like Anthony Edwards here too in this spot. Those are really the 4 guys I'm looking at, though. I'm not looking at a lot of values, more spend-ups in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Luka on both sides for sure. He's one of the best spend-ups on the slate. You feel the most comfortable with him. Kristaps Porzingis, 7K on FanDuel only. Power forward isn't very good. He's $1,300 cheaper than he is on DraftKings. I do have interest over there. You couldn't have said it any better about Anthony Edwards. He's one of my favorite tournament spend-ups on this slate because, yeah, he's not going to grade out very well projections-wise or something. If it was a normal slate, there'd be way better value point per dollar. You just feel so good with his minutes, though. He could play 35, 36. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. The teammates love him. He's shooting all the shots in the world. We saw Cat go to the bench early. He only played 27 minutes last game, whereas Anthony Edwards still played 33 minutes. I'd rather play him over Cat, over D'Angelo Russell. I just feel good about his role, his minutes, his upside. So I definitely agree that it's a spend ups in this game. This is a very good game for the spend ups where you feel more comfortable with them than Giannis, KD, any of that for sure. So I think it's pretty much Luka, Dame, CJ, and then I'm picking guys in this game on the Timberwolves side, and that's how I'm approaching the studs. And then the mid tier, the Neil Alexander Walkers, Thaddeus Youngs. You don't need the 3K punts too much.
Yep, agree with you for sure there on that one, Title. I don't got too much else to say. I got people asking, about is there a Love to Lock show? Just get in the Discord, right? Discord chat is the place to be. We'll be updating you on anything and everything that is NBA news related. But Title, we're going to go to the plays of the day.
Yeah. I just wanted this Atlanta. Now that you keep mentioning it and saying it, the earlier games. Yeah,
probably Trae Young is in now. So
Trae Young's okay. Then is Trae Young one of the best spend ups? If his price on FanDuel is very good.
What are his minutes? I mean, is he really going to go out there for 36 minutes and chuck?
No, but if he gets 30 minutes, even on why is he playing? Like if everyone's out and he's in, there has to be you don't just expect him to play a quarter, do you? That's weird.
No, but I'm gonna dig for a coach quarter too. I'm gonna try my best to find something that maybe.
Well, yeah, whatever we see on Twitter and all this stuff too, we put in Discord, we'll talk. But this is the news, that news right there just changed the slate on how Atlanta was. And now we're going to get news constantly. Make sure if you're a sub, make sure you're refreshing the cash chart. You're refreshing the core plays. You're in Discord, breaking it all down up until all your guys are locked in your lineup pretty much, because it's going to be a crazy slate.
Yep. We'll go to our plays of the day, and Title, I'm going first because you have me worried. I think you're going to steal mine. I'm not letting it happen. I love Anthony Edwards here in this. And you know what? You can't say, I stole it or I shouldn't have stole it. I played Anthony Edwards over Cat yesterday. He's one of my guys. So I cannot let you, try and take it from me. I can tell by the way you're talking about it. I had to play some defense there. I love Edwards in this spot. I love soaking up minutes, right? Guys are going to get minutes and going to play. And hey, they're still trying to get him that rookie of the year, right? Now, I'm not saying that this game is going to cement it by any means, but if Ant's going crazy, they might try and let him if he's going absolutely on fire. And he's a guy to just chuck it and not care. He's just going to keep trying for it. If you have been paying attention to what the Timberwolves are doing, they've been speaking a lot about that narrative that Ant is the best rookie in the entire class. So I wouldn't be shocked if he plays a ton of minutes. And also, when they did pull the guys out of the game yesterday, Title, if you go and look at K-Falic's chart, you know what happened? They pulled Cat in them, but they pulled D'Lo. But you know who they brought back in? They brought in Ant. The minutes are secure. Love him in this spot.
Yeah, you definitely did take mine. That is for sure. I have someone in my mind that I really love today, but I don't know if he's going to be chalky right now. I don't know what ownership is. I'll say it. You can reject it if this is too chalky. Like I said, I don't know. Tyrese Maxey are they going to be really popular?
I mean, I don't think it matters too much today, Title. I think Maxey's fine. There's a lot of guards. I think the ownership at guard can be very spread out. So I think it's perfectly fine. There's
so much ownership should be spread out. So many good spots. I just think Tyrese Maxey. I feel most safe with his minutes on Philadelphia, and
elite producer too, Title, elite producer,
exactly.
And he's a rookie, right? So that makes you feel a little better too.
Yeah, exactly. He's a young guy. He hasn't got a ton of minutes this year. He's only got spot stuff where he's really seen the minutes. Why would Doc not run him out 35 minutes, 30 plus at least? And when he's on the court, he's a very good player. He produces a lot. So I don't know the ownership, but I feel really good about Tyrese Maxey at 3.9K with all the mid-tier stuff we talked about. He really could be the cheapest player on your roster if you wanted to go that route. So Tyrese Maxey, I love your Anthony Edwards pay up call too. I think that's going to be contrarian. Be in Discord, check the core plays, check everything. It's going to be a crazy slate, NBA year, last day of the regular season. It was a fun year though. We might have some hardwood shows. I think JSU you were talking about throughout the playoffs, but it was fun. The slate's going to be crazy.
Yep. Fun and profitable year. Title. Real quick before we get on out of here, I want to say thanks for you guys for joining that. We're going to have tons and tons of, shows coming up for the playoffs. But I do want to say we got 300 of you watching and we're happy you're here, but you are our guys who have been grinding all season long, right? Title, nobody's showing up just now for NBA playoffs, right? Or NBA regular season. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I mean, come on. We got 77 and 300 watching. We need better. I expect better, especially from the guys who grind every single day with us. And I expected the 300R because you're not just a first-time person really showing up here. So thanks again for an awesome, awesome year. But we'll be back for the playoffs. Tons and tons of content for you guys. But for me, Mangone, in Taylortown, see you guys later.
Good luck.